Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to MentalShift. My name is Michelle Moras, and I am your host. If you've found this video or this audio and you're like, who in the world is this Michelle Moras? I'm an international speaker. I'm a coach. What I do is I like to remove the veil from people's preconceived notions of what they're not good at, their imperfections, and pull it off so they can see how amazingly beautiful and fabulous they truly are and all the magical things that they have to bring to the world. Now, on MentalShift, what we do is we bring in people from wherever, all sorts of the parts of the world, and we share what brought them from one place to another. Basically, what mental shift did occur in their lives that they are now doing something to give back to the world. Now, today, I have a lady that I accidentally met actually on a blog posting kind of site called Trendsetters. And she and I connected through a mutual friend and got to know her and went, wow, phenomenal woman, needs to get on my podcast because my world needs to meet and connect into her world. And I want you all to meet this lady, but I want you to write this down. Her name is her website, www.stacysolie.com. That's StacySolie.com. What she does is she helps women thrive through the change. So if men are listening, stay on, because guess what? You're either going to be married, sister, brother, whatever. You are connected to someone who's going to go through the change. And if you are under the age of 45 and you do, I don't need to listen to this. Well, guess what? If you're lucky enough to live longer, you will be feeling this too. So please welcome my guest today, Stacy. Stacy, thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much, Michelle. What an honor. I love the introduction, and it's so true. It affects everyone, right? Yeah. Employers at work. Yeah.
Employers, gym time, anybody, it hits us all. I mean,
Absolutely.
Our mothers, if you're young, say, well, it's not going to happen to me and I'm a guy. No, your mom. Okay. So it affects all of us. And
yes.
It affects us even earlier. I mean, growing up, I thought, to hit menopause, you had to be in your late 50s, 60s. And I hit the pre-menopause at like 34. So,
wow. Yeah.
So you never know, and it's nice to know what's going on. So, Stacy, since I'm distracted with you, what in your life brought you into this world? Because I know darn well this does not exist. There's not a lot of health coaches like you that deal with the change, with the menopausal change.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's actually the reason. So like yourself, I went through perimenopause young. I was 37. I had no idea what was going on with me. Like, doctors were like, okay, some antidepressants might help this. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm a happy person. What are you talking about? I'm not depressed. But I was experiencing so many things then, looking back, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. I see. And, as I went through the journey, I had, my very first anxiety attack, complete in a grocery store, right? Never experienced anything like that. And nobody talks about that either. Like they just kind of talk about oh, you kind of go crazy or you have moods, but you know what? Like it affects you physically beyond just, the hot flashes and the night sweats, but it's like a whole experience, and it kind of gradually sneaks up on you, and nobody was talking about it. I didn't have any references, and everything that I was researching was kind of just like, take the hormone replacements and, be quiet. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, no, my life's not over, but, kind of felt like the better years were behind me, and as I was going through that process. So I really want, to help women, to show them that is not true at all.
I have to say, now's the time.
Yeah.
What were you doing before this? When all this started happening? Because I know with me, I was told that I was having anxiety attacks. Here's some Valium. You might want to learn how to do some yoga. I mean, I was being brushed off because I was too young.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't care at any age, when you feel like you're going crazy and no one's helping you, it was horrible because I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah.
So what brought you? I mean, what were you doing? And then when, you know what? What were you doing?
Well, I have been a health and wellness coach for the last 10 years. So it's just recently in the last like little over 2 years that I've really narrowed in to really focus on menopause. Actually, the reason why I got into being a health and wellness coach was because my daughter was experiencing some health crisis. And it was because of her experience of not getting the right answers or getting any answers, right? And because of that whole experience was, 10 years ago, nobody knew what a health coach was, right? It just wasn't one of those things. And that's how I really discovered, like, wait a minute, I want to try to be an advocate for her. And I started researching and figuring out, like, what are some holistic things, taking her to acupuncturists and listening, like, what are some other ways to help heal her body? And so that's really why I became a health coach. And through my own experience, right? I was a health coach, eating well, doing healthy things, and I was still suffering when I was going through, perimenopause. So there was a lot that I needed to learn just in that area. Yeah.
I'm loving your mental shift didn't happen really because of you. It happened because you loved someone else.
Yeah. It was a huge shift. And I was in marketing and sales before this, so go figure.
You're still in marketing and sales.
That's true.
I mean, honestly, if the world wants to be a better, we should all be in marketing and sales for at least a little bit, just to help us grow whatever we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
My background's in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad that you had this mental shift into this world, because there isn't any information. I mean, there's not a lot of information. And even
Right.
I'm a 51-year-old woman, and I still don't really know what menopause is and what it does. All I know was I started early. My life went to hell. No one cared. And here I'm on the other side,
Yeah.
So, I mean, what? For those of you who out there who don't know, Stacy, can you tell us, what is menopause? What is that?
Yes. So you're officially in menopause when you've had 12 months of consecutive of no periods. So that is, the term that this is where you've arrived. There's no way of diagnosing perimenopause. So it's not, there is some blood work and you get some saliva tests to look at hormonal imbalances, but it's not like, oh yeah, it's kind of like, oh yeah, we think you might be, or there may be a chance. But this can go on for, 4, 8 years. I mean, a long time. So you can go through that. So really it's in menopause is that time when you have 12 consecutive. So if it's 11 months and then you have your period, you got to start all over again. So it means you're still in perimenopause. Yeah.
Okay. That's what happened with me. Nope.
Yep. Oh, yep.
Yeah. Well, but it's something that no one ever talks about. And I mean, and women in general don't like to go to hospitals and put legs up in stirrups anyway. So we kind of avoid it like the plague.
Right.
So
yeah.
There's a lot of unknown. And then by the time you get into the menopausal area, it's like, well, I don't go to the hospital at all anymore because my kids are kind of grown and I'm not worried about getting pregnant anymore. So I don't really care. So it takes something traumatic to force a woman in.
Yeah.
Like with me, the only reason I went back in is because I would, period would stop for 6 months and then it would start like crazy, like it was holding up in a dam for 6 months. It's like, what the heck is that? And where is it all hiding inside of me?
Right. Yeah. There's something wrong. Yes.
So women, if you're out there, men, if you're the one you love is suffering through something, you might want to have them watch this podcast or listen to it, because I want to pull more information out of Stacy, because there's so many misconceptions about menopause, and that, your world is over once you hit menopause, because then you're just, no.
Yeah.
No, it's
so not, yeah.
So share some of that.
Yes. So, there is that misconception that, and I think it really does have to do with the fact that there is an ending, right? So we have this this first spring, you know, as the Chinese medicine like to call that first spring, is when you first start menstruating, right? So that's that time in your life when you first, and then when you go through menopause, that's the second spring. So that's the chance to have this rebirth. So there is a process of forgiveness. There's a process of, you know, letting go of a part of your life, right? So the childbearing years are in the past now, right? That's not something that's part of that. So there is a sense of, let's, you know, offering some forgiveness and some letting go of, and then there's also some redefining. So when I help women with this process, it's about redefining yourself, because who are you? You're not just a menopausal woman. You're not just a fill in the blank mom, you know, sister. Like, who are you, or who do you really want to become? Because this is an opportunity for you to be free. And ladies, there is amazing opportunities. If you look at statistics with like entrepreneurs, you know, women that start businesses, this is like I said, this is the rebirth. So there's a lot of women that start businesses and become extremely successful with their passions because of this sense of freedom. And you kind of have a little bit of like, I don't really care about what people say or think anymore. I'm like, just unapologetically me. So there is that on the other side too. Yeah.
It's me.
I know. Yeah.
For those of you not watching videos, when she was saying that, I was slowly raising my hand. Watch out, world, here I come. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that version, that how you said that. It's the time of forgiveness and a second life, because yeah, I was like, okay, am I still a woman? I can't have babies. Am I still a woman?
Yeah.
I mean, there's that weird
there is
thought process going through it. And will you still love me because now I can't have babies? And my husband's like, we were done with babies like 15 years ago. How does that even define? I don't know, but in my mind, because
it still is.
It was gone. It was like I had to mourn that part of me.
You do. Yeah. There is that sense of mourning, a sense of loss. And it's hard too, because culturally we're taught that those are the prime years. Those are the, you know, the youthful and, you know, all that right here, right? And so now you're like, oh, well, wait a minute. If I you kind of feel like you're stuck. So that's that awkward, I think, where that perimenopause is you're not wanting to let go of that, because everything culturally says that's where beauty is, right?
That's where
that right back behind us. Yeah. And so what lays ahead is something unknown. And, you know, of course, all that we hear about menopause is all of the negativity. Like, people don't even like to say the word. So they say, you know, the change with quotes, you know, as if it's something awful. But yet we can talk about ED. We can talk about all kinds of things, right? If you think about like on commercials, right? So it's, you know, it's time that we shine some light on it and show you ladies that there's some exciting things here.
About to say, it's the best time of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I say it. Well, you say it, hear it a lot from more mature women like me.
Right.
If I knew now, I mean, back then, what I know now,
yeah,
the world would be a whole different place.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to, you know, show women. I don't want them to have to wait till menopause to experience that. I think that's the disconnect. What people think is, oh, I'll work with you when I'm going through menopause. It's like, no, let's start earlier. Let's start when you're in your mid late 40s, so that you're already prepared. Like, you're going through this. By the time it happens, like, your symptoms are hardly even noticeable, and you're already, because you have such a strong belief that your identity is like, yeah, I've got this, and you're just go there like the queen. Yeah.
I wish I knew you in my 30s.
Me too. I wish I had someone during my 30s.
I wish I had someone. Yeah. It's a taboo subject. I'm like, yeah, you're right. We can talk about ED, but we can't talk about women changing through our menopause.
Right. Yeah.
And that's huge, because we affect everybody.
Yeah.
Our whole family dynamic changes by our mood shifts. And it's not
right.
It's not because we're moody just hormonally. We're moody because we're getting lost. We're lost of who we are.
Yes.
What
yes.
we're going to become. And honestly, I see it more like a butterfly, a cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Chris, that when we're in our youth and supposedly that's the prime, whatever time, we're actually in a chrysalis and we're shifting and revolving. And in time of menopause is when we're cracking through that to truly become who we are, because we are no longer, dragging babies behind us or, juggling everyone else's schedule. We come out and we can spread our wings. And that's why someone like you, Stacy, is so important, because when we spread our wings and we're letting them dry, we're sitting around doing, okay, now what?
Yeah, it's so true.
And so with someone like you coaching through, before we ever break through that chrysalis and open our wings to dry them, we already know what direction we want to fly. Matter of fact, we've already moved that chrysalis in that direction, just waiting for it to come out. And that is the magic of Stacy Solie.
Yeah.
So if you are listening and you are watching, you've got a sister or anybody female in your family that you think really needs to hear this, share this podcast, the audio, the YouTube video with them, because the best time to prepare is before the crisis actually starts to happen. Okay.
Right.
And I'm telling you, for someone who went through menopause, it feels like a crisis. You feel lost and confused. So you can see what's coming and make plans for yourself and your well-being. When it happens, like Stacy said, you won't even know it happened. It'll be hot flash. Oh yeah, okay, I'll just wear this. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited for anyone who reaches out to you, because going through that alone is not fun.
No, and when I came across all the studies, the average time that you're looking at can be anywhere from 10 to 14 years. So that's a really long time to suffer. And you don't have to suffer alone. And there are some great resources. And, it can be like easy and simple and fun versus being so, hard and challenging and lonely. I don't know if, for you, but that was one of the things that I really struggled was, because I went through a divorce. And I know a lot of women that do as well. And, I was like, yay, I was kind of excited to be, divorced, to be honest with you. But then I didn't expect how lonely I was going to feel. And I think that really amplifies it, especially with the anxiety. So hormones play a big part. Yeah.
With me, it was more of a relationship thing, because I never knew in my period if it would start or if it didn't start or whatever it was doing. And so I was always, preparing for some crazy time period. And I'm on stages. I mean, I remember being on one stage and I'm like, I don't feel right. And on stage.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh no, this is not good. But I had to keep going and acting like nothing was wrong. So my anxiety was that part. And then the other part was when I came home, my husband never knew who he was going to meet.
Right.
Because sometimes I loved him, sometimes I didn't want to be around him. It was just this.
Yeah.
It was nothing about him. It was me, how insecure I was about who I was and what I was becoming.
Yeah.
Because everything I read said, okay, when you hit this time period of your life, you're going to gain a lot of weight. There's no way for you to lose it. I like muscle. I'm a bodybuilder. I like the gym. And I'm like, crap, and everything I've been doing is just kind of a waste of time. And then I'm watching I'm looking up and seeing these women who are more fit than they've ever been in their lives after the age of 55. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. And you did.
Yeah, and I did. But you don't see a lot of that in the world.
No.
It's nice to have a community. So do you have a community where people can come together and share and all that kind of stuff too? Because
I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, I created a virtual one, so a Facebook group, so that women can feel secure in a safe and private area. Yeah.
Good, because there are so many things I was alone and I didn't know. And my sister, who was older than me, she hadn't started menopause. I started before her. She's 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
And then I asked my mom, she's like, I'm 75. I don't remember. It's like, all by myself.
Exactly. And that there's no need to, right? I know for me, I like yourself, I was young. So all my friends were like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Yeah.
That's so cool that you made a community that people can talk and
Yes.
have you as a guide and to help guide them to what they want to be next. I mean,
Yeah.
women out there, spouses, whatever you are out there who are looking at the woman you love and she seems lost, share this video with her because it might be what's happening. We get lost somewhere in our lives when we've been identified as, the girlfriend, the wife, or in my case, I was a military wife, so the spouse,
Mm-hmm.
the mom. Oh, you're so and so mom. Oh, you're so and so's mom. And then you
Right.
get to this point in your life, you're like, okay, I'm not married anymore. My kids are gone or about to
Right.
be gone, or their lives are so busy. Who am I? And it's
Mm-hmm.
important to have a guide, someone who is outside of your head, because, like I say in my book, It's Not Luck Overcoming You, your inner critic can be kind of mean. And
Yeah.
they are really guarding you, protecting you, but if you're not ready for them, they seem very mean and it'll hold you back because you will let it hold you back. To have a
Yes.
guide on the outside seeing you and your possibilities and hearing what you're saying about what you want from your dreams and being able to extract that from you is a
Right.
magical thing.
Yeah. No, you're so right on.
So if
Yeah.
you're listening, people, today I have with me Stacy Solie. You can find her at www.stacy, S-T-A-C-Y, Solie, S-O-L-I-E.com. That's stacysolie.com. And she has, I believe on your website, they can click on it, a 5-day radical self-love video that is completely complimentary. And it's beautiful. You want to do it. You want to be a part of it. Stacy, can you share what the 5-day radical self-love video is about?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, there's the first video when you go to my website is called Reclaim Your Spark. So I created a 5-step framework all around reclaiming your spark in menopause. And I shared with you the first one, which is rediscover yourself. So that's the very first one. So that's all about rediscover. And one of them also is to practice radical self-love. So I believe that self-love is the bridge. That's that transformation, right, to that other side. And so when you can learn, techniques about being self-love, right? So not just doing self-care, there's a difference, being self-love. And so what I did is I created a 5-day radical self-love challenge, so to speak, to just challenge you to do 5 minutes a day. And there's these quick little videos, just a couple minutes long, and it's 5 minutes per day of things that you can do to help you to feel better, right? Just little things that aren't so difficult, but helping you to be able to step in and redefine yourself, right? With love. Because like I said, I really believe without love, you don't have that transformation, because otherwise you're beating yourself up in the process, right? You're going, oh, I tried this today, or like you said, maybe yoga, and then, oh, but I didn't do it perfectly. And then all of a sudden you're perpetrating yourself and you're beating yourself up. And believe it or not, that's when your symptoms are going to be worse. So if you want to like lower your symptoms and reduce them and really help that process with ease, and we're not talking about, anything that costs any money. We're not talking about, prescriptions or injections or anything else to feel better. Just simple self-love practices. So I think your audience is going to love it. It's really a beautiful process.
And I agree. And honestly, everyone needs to practice the the 5
Yes.
radical self-love video things because
Yes.
that's a lot of our problems comes from the fact that we don't love ourselves enough. And
Yeah.
so often we give, but we don't love ourselves enough. So when after we give, we kind of crash in. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Please
Yes.
take advantage of that 5-day radical self-love because really, if you listen to me often enough, and if you don't, you should be. It all starts from within. Everything
Yeah.
we're looking for, everything we need is already inside of us. We just need guides to help pull it out or help us realize that it's there. And so
Yeah.
don't think you're lacking. You just have to find it inside of you. And that 5-day radical self-love video, where you can get a video a day, basically, it will help you build habits that you can build into your lifestyle, that when bad things happen, those habits will help you through any situation because your mindset will be in the right place. So
Yeah.
just because you say, well, I'm not in that yet, or I don't think so. No, practice now so you don't have to learn it in crisis mode.
Yes, it's so important, because when you're in crisis mode, you don't even feel like you can do anything, right?
Yeah, you curl up in a ball and wrapped up in a blanket and
And don't feel like getting out of bed or off the couch.
yeah, just give me something comforting so I don't have to move. I mean, and that's
Right.
really a feeling that we
Yep.
actually do get. I mean, at least I did. Like,
Oh, no, absolutely. And it's always that very first step that's the most difficult, right? Whether it's weight loss, whether it's, going for a walk, putting on the tennis shoes is the hardest part because it's making that commitment. And so when you have someone that helps, like you do, helping you to take that first step. So you providing these podcasts, right? Or whether it's the self-love challenge, all those little things to just help you to take that first step, and giving you that support and kind of a little bit of some inspiration, encouragement really helps too.
yes, it does. Well,
Yeah.
and I always encourage people to, set daily habits and change something every day, something tiny. So it doesn't have to be major. I said it can be something as simple as take the sugar out of your coffee,
Right.
and honestly, that was my first step. Take the sugar out of my coffee. The next thing was drink only half of that before I went to work out. The next thing was, okay, I didn't want to work out. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to leave my tennis shoes at the door with the dog leash so that when I walk downstairs, I see it and do, oh, I got to do that,
Gotta do it.
and
Yes.
I can do that. And so when you start building little things to help your morning or your next day, your next adventure,
Yep.
it becomes such a habit. So now, even to this day, my tennis shoes and the dog leash, or, my tennis shoes, the dog leash, or a barbell. I mean, I do things to force myself to remember to do what I need to do. But now it's such a habit. It just is.
Yes. And it is because what ends up happening, like, as you know, you start to overwrite that subconscious where you no longer have to remember to be different because that's your new identity.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
I like to say
absolutely.
it's like a record player. For those of you who do not know what a record player, there were very large CDs and DVDs that went on a turntable that spun around and had little grooves, and you put a little needle and it would play music. So if you don't know what a record player is or what a record is, you're probably in the 20 version of this conversation. What it is, it's like your mind. Your mind
Yep.
has a music playing on these ridges, and what we do when you build new habits is you make the needle on the record move, and you're forcing a new groove, a new music, a new song in your life. And that is why habits are good, because they help make your brain transform easier. It's like, okay, I got this. Okay, now I can focus on this other stuff because this groove is already there. And so
Yep.
be the best version of you by creating new grooves in your brain record. And honestly, if you look at CDs, the laser does the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't feel it.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right, because you set yourself up for success by putting the tennis shoes and the leash. So you knew that about yourself. Because sometimes people will say, well, how do you force yourself to do that, or how do you get up, get up out of bed, right, without hitting the snooze? And I'm like, it's just one step after the other. If I listened to my brain would say, hit that snooze button. You know that you deserve just a couple extra minutes. It'll feel so good, right? I mean, our brains are it wants to keep us safe and stay in the normal. Just stay right here. It's all good. But if that's not what we're wanting. If we're wanting growth or change, it does have to be a little bit uncomfortable, or just to be like, okay, I hear you, but you're not in the driver's seat right now.
You got to step out of that comfort zone ever so slightly. Doesn't have
Yep, just a little bit.
I even went to the extreme because I would come back from my workouts or whatever, and I would want to grab what was easy. What was easy was my kids' peanut butter crunch cereal. And so it's like, if I do that, kind of defeats everything I just did. So
Right.
I put a little bowl out, and I'd put my oatmeal in there waiting for me.
Nice.
So I knew, and I'd look and I do, I don't know, peanut butter crunch is really yummy. I'll do this. And so you train yourself, and like the waking up in the morning, your brain says, it's okay. You can sleep a little bit longer.
That's right.
You're such a good person. Just sleep. And no, but now I've trained my brain that I don't even need my alarm. I'm awake at 5:15 every morning. It does not matter what day of the week it is. I'm up.
Yep.
And so that's part of that training of that brain is my brain does, oh, you're supposed to be up. What are you going to do now? And
Yep.
so instead of doing, oh, I'm so tired, my brain does, okay, what's next? What do we
Yep.
do?
Yeah.
And I've trained it that way. So
Yep.
train it. Your brain can be trained.
Yes.
Yeah, it can be formed like whatever you want it. You can train it to wake up, have a cigarette, drink a big cup of coffee, or a big gulp of Coke or something, and you can train it to do that. It
True.
will do that. That's the easier path. Or you can train it to do what you want it to do,
Yep.
one task at a time. And
Yeah.
you can trick your brain into doing one new task a day. It will start doing them and not worry about it. I used to be a heavy smoker, so I kind of
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah.
that's why I brought that in. I used to smoke,
Yeah.
and I had trained myself to wake up, smoke a cigarette while I was getting ready. So I'd shower, smoke a cigarette while I was getting ready. And what I did was I I stopped putting the cigarettes there. That was the
Yep.
first habit. I moved it away from where I would use it.
Yeah.
And then it shifted. Then I started smoking on my way to work, which I
Yep.
never did because I didn't want anyone to know I smoked.
Yeah.
And so what I had to do was take it from there and move it to another spot so I wouldn't smoke it in the car. And so I just
Yeah.
kept moving it during the day.
Yep.
It's crazy how easily it was shifting. And then one day, just my husband hates smoke.
Yeah.
So when we weren't married, this is what I did. And so
Yeah.
when he proposed to me, I'm like, oh crap, he doesn't know I smoke.
Oh.
I took that last cigarette, that last day of the cigarette on the way home cigarette, and just got rid of it. And I just stopped. So it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to reshift your mind.
Right.
Smokers out there, you do know, I still crave one every once in a while. It's part of a chemical addiction, okay?
Sure.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice
Yep.
you can make. It hurts, but it's a choice. So
Yeah.
just like with menopause, it's not a choice. It's going to happen.
That's true.
You can make a choice on how you're going to handle it. You can either choose to struggle once you get there and get lost and wonder in stress mode, what am I going to be when I grow up? Or you can contact someone like Stacy and make preparation for when this happens, what will I do? And start making steps towards it now.
Right.
So that when this other stuff happens, you smoothly transition and you don't even realize it happens. And then you celebrate. Honestly, we should have like menopause parties. I really like, happy 50th, happy menopause. Woo-hoo!
Woohoo! Yeah, well, I think there are some traditions I've looked up, different areas, of course, not in the US, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we need to be celebrating this.
Yes.
Well, Stacy, any last words of wisdom? Because I got really distracted on the whole crazy build a new habit part in my mind.
Well, and I will just circle back with that because cravings is another sign of going through perimenopause. I'll tell you, like, for some reason, it's kind of like when they talk about cravings when you're pregnant. For some reason, with my hormones, like, I would go to the checkout stand and I would look at those candy bars and like start drooling. And I never did that. So there, like if you're finding that you're having cravings, like you're talking about cigarettes
that's why I brought it up, because that was the craving that came back for me.
See, okay, so it came back. So that is like all of a sudden, because your body, all the hormones are going on, and it can be sugar or it can be some weird cravings. So if you're noticing some weird cravings, you're not crazy, and there are things to do about that, right? So there's ways to have with herbs as well. So that's another part of what I work with. I'm trained as a hormone cure practitioner as well, because when you want to look at like just sometimes adding in like if you're craving chocolate, sometimes adding in like magnesium might be just the trick, right? You just never know.
It's huge. Okay,
Yes.
I have to praise on you about that, because that's what I did. I had shifted to all herbal things. And what we found was in my hormonal imbalances, my vitamins stopped absorbing into my body. So when we got leveled out, everything went away again. And I'm like, oh, I feel better than I've ever done. I mean, I should have done this back when I was in my 20s. Maybe I was, vitamin deficient then too, So, oh, I am so excited. People, please reach out to Stacy Solie. It's StacySolie.com, because attack this before it starts bothering you. And know what's coming. Don't be like the rest of us who blindly walked into menopause and went, what? What? And you're not dying. No, you're not crazy. It's life. But on the other side of all that, is just amazing.
It is, absolutely. I so agree. And you're a walking example. So love seeing this.
I'm so glad you joined me on this podcast. I was like,
Yes.
I hope.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Stacy. And Solie, remember that, Stacy Solie, because it's amazing to have a guide through this and to help you find your way before you even need to know to find your way. And please share this video, please share this podcast, the audio, whatever it is, because I'm telling you, there are women in your life who are concerned about this. And if they're not now, they will be. So please share this and reach out to Stacy Solie. And please go to the website, stacysolie.com, and get the 5-day radical self-love videos, because you'll be glad you do. And honestly, I'm thinking, guys, you can do it too, because self-love. Everyone have
Absolutely.
a great week. Stacy, you rock. I wish I knew
Thank you.
way back when, but now I'm glad you're in my world now.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, Michelle.
Thank you. And everyone, have a great week. Share this, because there's a woman in your world that needs to meet Stacy Solie. Have a great week, everyone. And until next time, be the best version of you.